This session is going to focus on how to give powerful presentations. Now, presentations can be one of two things. They can be memorable or they can be completely forgettable. Now, in our context, whether it's in the workplace or as an entrepreneur, engaging investors, or even at university, we soon learn that presentations become an increasing part of the world that we live in and the deliverables that we're expected to put through at work, at school, and in the business world. And so it's very important to ensure that you can give a memorable presentation versus a forgettable presentation. Let's start off with forgettable presentations. These are presentations that the content of these presentations really is a regurgitation of existing content. This is when a person goes to Google or any other search engine and clicks on a certain topic and perhaps just copies and pastes what they find in different sites and put that onto their own presentations. This has no new ideas. It's really a regurgitation of what exists. In fact, the audience could have found this very same information by themselves if they just had the time to do it. Forgettable presentations also mean that there's no new interpretation of information. Now, if the topic that you're researching already exists and a lot of work has been done on it, it's fine to go and research on Google and other search engines, but you have to bring your own interpretation and your own understanding of what this content actually means and what you're going to be doing about it. Forgettable presentations don't do this. And what they really are good at is just recopying the work of other people that already exists. The other thing about forgettable presentations is just about the way they look. Oftentimes, the slides that have been put together are crammed with too many words. They are too dense. They're very text heavy. And what generally happens then is that as you're presenting to your audience, the audience stops listening to you and instead focuses on reading what is on the screen because that's what has captured their attention. Oftentimes the font is too small or the font isn't a font that is easy on the eye. And what this then does is that it loses the attention of the audience that is actually now trying to follow what you're presenting. Forgettable presentations also get it wrong in terms of the color palette that's being used. Oftentimes the colors are either too bright or they just do not gel with each other. And so the presentation visually becomes very jarring and not pleasant to consume. And again, they usually have either too many pictures on them and those pictures then become almost an overload of imagery, or they have no pictures at all and they're just very text heavy. This is the best way to present a presentation that will be forgotten the moment you say thank you and sit down. Now, let's talk about memorable presentations. Presentations that will have people wanting to talk to you straight afterwards, wanting to ask you questions, and wanting to better understand your idea or your business or the project that you might be presenting. Let's start off with what they look like. These presentations are simple. They are simple from the way they look and they're simple from a content perspective. Let's talk about the content first. These presentations aren't about a regurgitation of existing content. They are innovative, they bring in new ideas, and even where research has been done on existing ideas, they bring in new interpretations and they bring a new lens on how an existing problem can be solved in a different way. That's a content perspective. From a look and feel perspective, they are simple because they keep the use of color to a minimum. Usually you use two colors. You have a background color, which is the color of your slide. They most likely will use a clean white background or even a solid black background. And then they will use a complementary color from the color palette. So if you use white, the color palette ranges. So you could use white and maroon or white and dark green. And if they use black, oftentimes they will limit it to black and white because black and any other bright color really then just becomes jarring. Now, these presentations are very clean in the way that they look. They're not cluttered with too many words or cluttered with too many pictures. Oftentimes, there's one central theme on each slide, and this central theme can be represented by either a topic and a few bullet points, and these bullet points are not full sentences. They are phrases and sometimes even single words, or they are just a single picture that tells the story. When you use a single picture, you capture the entire attention and the imagination of the audience. The audience focuses on you and listens to you telling the story rather than trying to read your slides. And finally, memorable presentations are also short and to the point. And this allows the audience to really want to get to understand more about what you've presented. And oftentimes, this is a really beautiful way of segueing into a question and answer session. Trust me, nobody wants to sit through a presentation for 2 hours, no matter how brilliant that presentation might be. Remember that if you're going to be giving presentations, you can always put notes in your presentation that are not visible to the audience, but are visible to you when you're giving the presentation. And if you can use a clicker, that is even better. A clicker has just a bit of a USB portal, thing that you stick in your USB portal, and this allows you to move around in the room and to change slides without having to go back to the slides and fiddle on your laptop. The final thing is, don't forget that if you want to use videos, and you want to use any other audio visual animation in your presentation, that you need to test that works before you give your presentation. The safest thing to do is to download your video onto your computer, save it, and then insert it into your presentation, rather than relying on the Wi-Fi in the venue to then play or stream the video. The Wi-Fi might not be working, and this could completely throw your presentation. These are just some of the basic tips and techniques to ensure that you're able to give presentations that are memorable instead of presentations that are forgettable.